Good evening and a warm welcome to Nationwide today on the network service of the NTA. I'm Elizabeth Omori. We begin with the Security Council meeting. President Muhammadu Buhari has convened an extraordinary meeting of the National Security Council. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the meeting was summoned by the Nigerian leader in response to what he described as a disturbing trend in the nation's security situation. In attendance at the crucial engagement of Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, the National Security Advisor, all the service chiefs led by the Chief of Defence Staff and the Chief of Defence Intelligence. Others are the Inspector General of Police, Directors General of the Department of State Services, and the National Intelligence Agency and other critical stakeholders. The meeting being held behind closed doors is coming few days after the Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno alleged sabotage in the renewed fight against terrorism and insurgency. This was shortly after his convoy came under attack by gunmen suspected to be Boko Haram elements when heading for Baga on routine visit to the IDPs. It would be recalled that during the last Security Council meeting, President Buhari told the security chiefs that their best is not good enough as regards the way and manner the battle against insecurity is being prosecuted. He promised to do whatever it takes within available resources and limits of the law to deal decisively and proactively with the various security challenges bedeviling the country. The ongoing meeting is therefore expected to thoroughly analyze the prevailing challenges of security and chart the best way forward for Nigeria. NTA News will keep you informed about major decisions to be taken at the interactive dialogue as soon as they are made public. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has rearranged former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Mohammed Bello Adoke over alleged corruption and fraud charges of over 4 billion naira. Adoke, a senior advocate of Nigeria, was rearranged alongside one Aliu Abubakar on an amended 14-count criminal charge bordering on money laundering. The former attorney and Aliu Abubakar have pleaded not guilty to the charges against them. Adoke was accused of collecting 300 million from one Alhaji Abubakar as alleged proceeds of unlawful activities in 2013, collecting another $2.2 million from one Rislawan Dean Mohammed and illegally paying 50 million naira in 13 ranches and another 80 million in 22 ranches into his personal accounts with Unity Bank in contravention of the nation's financial regulations. The second defendant, Aliu Abubakar, was alleged to have received cash payments of $2 million, $4 million, and $84 million from one Abdul Karim Mustafa between September and October 2013. In addition to receiving 3 million and concealing the source, Abubakar was also alleged to have paid 3 million naira in cash to Adoke in Abubakar was also alleged to have paid 300 million naira in cash to Adoke in contravention of the Money Laundering Prohibition Act. Justice Enyang Eko who ordered an accelerated trial of the matter till 11th, 12th and 13th of August 2020. Meanwhile, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, says her ministry did not spend 13 billion naira on school feeding. The minister gave a clarification in a statement released on the fake news circulating around sums purportedly spent daily on the provision of the home rations under modified home-grown school feeding program. In a statement released by the ministry, 124,589 households were impacted between May 14 and July 6, 2020 at 4,200 per take-home ration. The total figure for impacting 124,589 households is 523,273,800. The ministry says the federal government provided funding while states implemented. In recent times, the statement adds that there have been rumors and speculations around one of the key interventions, the homegrown school feeding program, which was modified and implemented in 3 states following a presidential directive. The provision of take-home rations under the modified homegrown school feeding program is not a sole initiative of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. The ministry, in obeying the presidential directive, went into consultations with state governments through the Nigeria Governors Forum, after which it was resolved that take-home rations remain the most viable option for feeding children during the lockdown. The statement adds that it was a joint resolution of the ministry and the state governments to give out take-home rations, and the stakeholders also resolved that the program would start with the FCT, Lagos and Ogun states as pilot cases. Each take-home ration is valued at 4,200. The figure was not arrived at without proper consultation and not invented. According to statistics by the MBS and CBN, a typical household in Nigeria has 5.6 to 6 members in its household, with 3 to 4 regarded as dependent. Based on the original design of the homegrown school feeding program, long before it was domiciled in the ministry, every child on the program receives a meal a day. The meal costs 70 naira per child. 20 school days per month means a child eats food worth 1,400 per month. In the FCT, 29,609 households were impacted. Lagos recorded 37,589, while Ogun State impacted 60,391 households, making a total of 124,589 households impacted between May 14 and July 6, 2020. On the issue of palliatives, the minister noted that she never said every Nigerian has received palliatives, but state governments in Nigeria received palliatives for onward distribution to the poorest of the poor in their states. She also disclosed that EFCC, CCB, ICPC, DSS, and a host of NGOs were invited to monitor the homegrown school feeding program. Away from the school feeding program, Nigeria is a sovereign nation and no one will recolonize her. But we must pay our debts. Those were reassuring words from the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria during a discussion on borrowing terms and Nigeria's sovereignty. Ekemin Williams has details.
International diplomatic immunity, which in its essence and right is an immunity relating to the independent existence of a state, and a commercial immunity, which in essence is a commitment that you are now conceding that in the event of default or payment of advance amount of money, you have the right to now attach the asset, commercial asset, of a borrowing state for the purpose of satisfaction. So that is where I think the misconception set in. Misconception to the effect that the National Assembly is in essence looking at the international diplomatic immunity.
Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, distinguishing between international diplomatic immunity and commercial immunity. He was speaking a newspaper, alleging possible waiver of Nigeria's sovereign immunity to China in the event that Nigeria defaults in repaying the loans. Also speaking on Good Morning Nigeria, Professor Uche Waleke underscored what he called the beauty of the Chinese loan against other loan agreements.
The major attraction is that, they come cheap relative to other loans. Okay, at 2.5%, the one we took in last year, bonds we are getting, Euro bonds, for example. What has happened is only in relation to the commercial immunity.
Minister of Transportation, Chibike Rotimi Amechi, stressed that borrowing for national development is a necessity and unavoidable.
The reason why President Buhari was elected is to develop Nigeria. And he comes and says, look, I don't have money. One of the easiest ways to develop a country is to borrow and pay back. And not only is he paying back the loan that these are for in economic without transportation. Just imagine tomato in Lagos, when indeed tomatoes are wasting in Kano and in the north. Yeah. All you need to, why the tomatoes are not found in Lagos is because there's no transportation.
The minister, however, says that implementation of the loan from China is visible in the level of work done and completed on the different segments of the rail modernization project. In Abuja, Ekemini Williams, NTA News.
And for more reports on Nationwide, let's head straight to Lagos, where Hingino John Adams will be our guide. Hello, Hingino.
Elizabeth. The Nigerian Navy, in line with carrying out its statutory role of securing the nation's maritime domain, has recorded remarkable success through Operation Okunalafia 2. Uzezi Arure reports that the operation has reduced the nefarious activities of sea pirates and illegal smugglers on Nigerian waterways.
Operation Okun Alafia 2, a Yoruba word for calm waters 2, is a 30-day sea operation by the Nigerian Navy to tackle cases of insecurity around the country's territorial waters. The fleet commander, Western Naval Command, who is the tactical commander of the operation, Rear Admiral Danjuma Moses, says, so far, several suspects, including 2 ships, Mother Comfort and Sea Supply, have been apprehended for alleged involvement in illegal movement of petroleum products along Lagos waters using expired naval permits.
Both vessels are currently in own custody, undergoing further investigation preparatory to hand over to appropriate agencies for prosecutions.
The Navy disclosed that one of the vessels had previously been intercepted by NSS Unguru on the 17th of June 2020 at the Atlas Cove Single Buoy Mooring area.
Members of the public are free to divulge credible information to units in their areas or localities to enable them get rid of all forms of criminalities.
Operation Calm Waters 2 was flagged off by Naval Headquarters on the 24th of July 2020 to police the Nigerian waterways. In Lagos, Uzezi Arure, NTA News.
And now to road matters. It has been 11 days since the third mainland bridge was partially closed for repairs. In this period, there has been no major road traffic accident, and the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyeyemi, says this feat must be sustained by synergizing with all relevant agencies in traffic management to ensure seamless motoring. Dotun Oguyemi has the reports.
As the days go by, motorists and other road users are adapting to the new roadmap within the metropolis, especially those who depend on the third mainland bridge for speedy movement. Time is of the essence, as they are now more conscious of the traffic advisory plan. The Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyeyemi, who monitored the situation, commended Lagos motorists for their cooperation and reiterated that stricter measures will be taken against drivers of articulated vehicles who fail to comply with safety regulations.
In September 2015, we impounded about 3,650 flatbed trailers, and we won the union then. But I think with the mobile course being provided by the state government now, we are going back as from next week, Monday.
Meanwhile, the first phase of the replacement of 6 expansion joints and other works on the bridge are different stages.
They will soon start the removal of the bearings on the joint. But the first one that we want to carry out is the removal and the replacement of the expansion joint. The work will be completed at the same time, within that 6 months.
Since the partial closure of the third mainland bridge, over 2,000 personnel drawn from security, traffic officials and engineers from the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing have been working day and night to ensure seamless flow of traffic, as well as timely delivery of the project. In Lagos, Dotun Oguyemi, NTA News.
Away from road matters now, the federal government has reiterated its commitment to sanitize and make the country's broadcast space responsive and vibrant. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed restated the federal government's position at the unveiling of the revised NBC Code in Lagos. The 6th NBC Code is a review of the 5th edition. Details will come in our subsequent bulletins. We now take a break.
Thanks for staying with us. Now to school resumption. After more than 3 months of shutdown, schools in the FCT have reopened for only certificate classes to sit for the 2020 examination. Hadiza Godwin-Ebuni reports that in most schools visited, measures have been put in place to prevent the spread of coronavirus among students.
Under strict COVID-19 guidelines, schools at the junior and senior secondary level have resumed for their certificate examinations. The students were checked before allowed into the school premises. The schools say it is not business as usual as academic work starts immediately.
The result will be okay. We have no fear because we started teaching them right from SS2, preparing them for WAEC.
Earlier on, it was reported that junior secondary schools will not resume till further notice.
GS3 of FCT Abuja are not resuming on the 4th. This is following the directive from our head office, Universal Basic Education.
But to my surprise, junior secondary school students also resumed.
As of yesterday, around 3 o'clock, a directive was given that we should resume today. The GS3 students should resume today, and we should put everything in order.
Some parents urge schools to sensitize the students more on adhering to the guidelines.
We take the necessary precaution. We adhere by the rule.
I gave them all that. They have sanitizer, they have face masks.
The students are optimistic that the 2020 examination results will be the best ever.
The principal said I should come and hear some announcements based on our junior work that we are supposed to write.
Staying at home for 4 months has helped me a lot to prepare for the exam.
I have to graduate this year, but because of the coronavirus, so we don't have to. But now I'm very happy we're finishing this year, not next year anymore.
The school say all is set for both the junior and senior WAEC examinations. Hadiza Godwin-Ebuni, NTA News.
And with me in the studio to speak more on resumption of schools in the FCT is the chairman, FCT Secondary Education Board, Yahya Musa Mohammed. It's nice to have you in our studio.
It's my pleasure.
And congratulations, schools are finally resumed.
Yep. Really?
All right, what can be said of schools in the suburb in terms of putting safety protocols in place, just like we watched in the reports?
Yeah, actually in the Federal Capital Territory, we have 77 senior secondary schools under the FCT Secondary Education Board, and this cut across the 6 area councils. Whatever arrangement you find in the municipality is being replicated in all our schools, whether they are in municipality or in the suburb. So we have adequate preparation for our schools in order to comply with the NCDC protocols. So that's a problem for us in terms of giving them what is required in order to ensure that we have a preventive arrangement against the COVID-19.
Okay. We heard that the initial directive was that only SS3 students were to resume, but as observed in the report, GSS3 students were on the last minutes asked to resume.
Well, the announcement from the Federal Ministry of Education wasn't ambiguous. Okay. It was very clear and vivid that exiting classes to resume from the 4th, which of course comprises of GS3 as well as SS3. So it wasn't an ambiguous statement from the Federal Ministry of Education. The GS3 also is part and parcel of the exiting classes we have. So that explains why you find them resuming today, being the 4th of August.
All right, there's the fear of mass failure because some of them couldn't afford online lessons. What's your position on this?
Well, it wasn't like, it's not like the process leading them to writing WAEC is just starting now. It started right from when they were in SS1 through to SS2, and of course preparing them for WAEC now, which is the exiting class. So a lot of, virtually in FCT, we ensure that we employ learning through a school management system where virtually all our schools, it was just like a moment for them to actually have a very robust and vivid contact with appropriate learning. So what they only missed was is this issue of being in the classrooms. But as far as the preparation arrangements were concerned, it wasn't as bad as people are expecting. Enough teaching learning enterprise actually took place within this period using various means of social media.
Okay. So how long are they supposed to be in school before their exams?
Well, the WAEC, for example, is coming up on the 17th of this month, so they are expected to be in school for the next
2 weeks?
Yeah, before the exams actually comes up on the 17th.
All right. So what assurance would you give to parents on the safety of their children?
For, FCT,
because it's really hard to control children.
Well, really, even before the advent of COVID-19, the FCT administration had taken a very proactive step in trying to decongest our schools. 15 additional senior secondary schools have been established long before even the advent of COVID-19 in order to decongest our schools. The facilities have been, we have in our schools have been rehabilitated. We have more new classrooms being constructed. The laboratories have been rehabilitated, and teaching learning enterprise for students now in FCT actually is far, far better than what it used to be before the advent of the COVID-19. And most importantly, so now that it's only the exiting classes that are resuming, the other staff that we have, both teaching and non-teaching, will now be redeployed in order to handle this few number of students that will resume for the WAEC exam. So there's going to be enough manpower to checkmate the activities of students in our schools.
Okay, I would like to take you back to the issue of the schools in suburbs. How do you intend to monitor compliance?
Well, it's never a new thing. We have our various departments. We have Department of Quality Assurance, and that also goes to around these schools. In the Secondary Education Board, we have a Monitoring and Evaluation Department also. We have the division in charge of school services. So we have enough manpower to monitor what actually happens in our various schools. And most importantly, as I said earlier, that we now have a robust school management system in place now that we can easily communicate to our principals across the 6 area councils in terms of monitoring actually what happens in our schools.
All right. Mr. Mohammed, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you for enlightening us.
Thank you so
and giving
much.
us hope that our children can go back to school.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We're happy that we're back once again.
Congratulations.
It was a pleasure.
Still on school resumption, schools in Ilorin and the Kwara State capital are preparing for the resumption of exit students towards ensuring strict compliance with federal government's directive on COVID-19 safety protocols. Aisha Abubakar Yaya reports that there are challenges in this exercise.
The precondition to reopen schools for exit classes by the federal government is based on compulsory compliance with COVID-19 rules in schools. Many schools in Ilorin are ready as provisions are in place for the prevention of coronavirus pandemic. While provisions are in place in some schools visited, preparations are underway in some other schools. Isolation center, infrared thermometer, and hand-washing cabins are some of the items already provided by Abdulaziz Attar Memorial Secondary School in case of an emergency.
The school is prepared for resumption for the exit class. If the government can help the students with a nose mask, infrared thermometer, so that we can effectively take the temperature of the students.
If the government can come today or tomorrow and say, you people are ready, we have seen your facilities, all okay, and that, take this, we'll be very, very happy.
80% ready for the resumption of the students, and we've equally made an arrangement on how to get the face mask for our students.
The government should show us mercy, at least financially, because for the past 4 months, we have been stranded financially, meeting the needs of our teachers.
Meanwhile, the Kwara State government has begun Distribution of face masks across schools ahead of Wednesday's resumption of students. Aisha Abubakar Yahaya, NTA News.
This is Nationwide on NTA. Let's now join Zulay in our Kaduna studio for more reports. Nice to see you, Zulay.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and welcome to Kaduna. Kaduna State Government is set to decontaminate and disinfect 370 senior secondary schools in the state, preparatory to resumption of exit students for their external examinations. The schools earmarked for the exercise are designated centers for the conduct of senior secondary school certificate examination. Mijama Adamu has details.
This is Government Girls Secondary School Kabbalah Question in Kaduna Metropolis. At the moment, it is a neighborhood market designated by government following the closure of the central market in Kaduna as proactive response to cartel community transmission of COVID-19. With the latest directive by the state government for reopening schools involved in the forthcoming external examination for exit students, the traders are under marching order for immediate relocation to alternative centers. What follows is comprehensive decontamination and disinfection of these and over 260 other public secondary schools across the state that are centers for the senior secondary school certificate examinations. The state government and official statement confirms its commitment to a safe reopening of the schools through procurement of necessary safety equipment like infrared thermometers, face masks, hand sanitizer, and hand washing facilities, in addition to implementing strict practice of safety habits by both the students and teachers in both public and private schools. The Parent Teachers Association of Nigeria welcomes this development.
We are ready to send our children to school, but we want government to ensure that the prepared guidelines on the reopening of schools prepared by the Federal Ministry of Education in collaboration with the Presidential Task Force, NCDC, Ministry of Environment, and what have you, are strictly complied and adhered to.
The report that has reached us is that most of our schools are ready to open.
On their part, private secondary schools are expected to report their readiness to the Kaduna State Schools Quality Assurance Authority, from where they are to obtain written no objection to open certification. In Kaduna, Mijama Adamu, NTA.
And a report from Jigawa State indicates that adequate measures have been put in place to ensure safety of lives against coronavirus, as all categories of workers are to resume work as directed by the state government. Awal Muhammad Kazawi reports that the small number of workers that reported are observing the COVID-19 protocols.
This is the Jigawa State Government Secretariat housing majority of ministries, agencies and parastatals. A visit to the offices in the morning revealed that government has made adequate arrangement to ensure safety against the virus. Hand washing points, sanitizers and face masks provided to make the civil servants feel secured at the work, having spent 4 months at home to avoid the spread of the disease. Although there are low turnout of the workers, those around are in high spirit with the determination to ensure compliance to COVID-19 protocols.
We have, in consultation with the Ministry of Health, try as much as possible to be compliant with the COVID-19 procedure.
You can see everybody dealing with these fires and activities lively, without any hitch.
I wish them best of luck as we resume work today.
NTA News crew also visited some of the schools reopened for exit students. Classes and hostels fully fumigated with physical distancing ensured in the schools.
We sanitize them, and as they are sitting, the sitting arrangement, there's social distancing as well.
All things since from yesterday has put in place as regard to the preparation of receiving our students.
Jigawa State currently has 0 infection of coronavirus, with isolation centers temporarily closed. From Dutse, Awal Muhammad Kazaure, NTA News.
And we're back to Elizabeth in Abuja for more Nationwide.
Thank you so much, Zulay. Now to security. President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the nation's armed forces and other security services to ensure immediate rejigging of their operational strategies in the fight against crime and criminality, with a view to putting a stop to the reign of terror in parts of the country. The National Security Advisor, Babagana Monguno, disclosed this while briefing journalists after the crucial meeting of the National Security Council presided over by the President.
The President
did not conceal his anger about the declining security situation. Mr. President was more concerned about the promise made to the larger Nigerian society and ordering an immediate re-engineering of the entire security apparatus. And this is something that I believe will be done in a very short time. But I just want us to keep hope alive. I know how everybody feels. I know how Nigerians feel. Definitely the president is not oblivious of the fact that securing the nation is the primary responsibility of the government, and I believe in his sincerity. But again, since he's not an octopus, since he's not a spirit, if he delegates to people, then the onus is on them to actually fulfill the legitimate expectation of the larger Nigerian society.
The National Security Advisor said the meeting also discussed drug trafficking and its implications on the nation's security and economic well-being.
Mr. President has decided that we must wrestle this problem. This problem is directly linked. If you look at the nature of criminality, the coloration of each crime, especially in terms of kidnapping and banditry and terrorism, it is not the killing of the people, but the way in which these people are killed goes to show one thing. It is extremely abnormal, it is extremely inhuman, and these acts can only be perpetrated by people who are out of their mind.
Still talking security, military might may now be counted not in weapons but in digital and technical expertise, say key players in security and communications who have charged cost 28 participants at the National Defense College to adapt to this new normal caused by the COVID-19 disruption. Defense correspondent Najat Tijani reports from the college, where the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy delivered the keynote lecture. Details of this report will come later. Time now to join our studio in Benin for more reports. Hello, Agatha.
Hello, Elizabeth. A warm welcome to Benin. Deputy Speaker and some other lawmakers in the Edo State House of Assembly have declared their support for the All Progressives Congress, the APC candidate, Pastor Osage Ize-Iyamo, just as candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and Governor of the state, Godwin Obaseki, has rolled out his campaign in Edo North Senatorial District ahead of the governorship election in September. Here are details. Deputy Speaker of Edo State House of Assembly, Yekini Diaye, and 4 other legislators have endorsed the APC candidate, Pastor Osage Ize-Iyamo. The other legislators are Emmanuel Agbaje, representing Akoko Edo Constituency 2, Losayaba Okunbo Oreyon East Constituency 1, Dumez Ugiagbe of Ya North East Constituency 1, and Vincent Huadiai of Ya North East Constituency. This brings to 17 the number of state lawmakers who have chosen to remain in the APC.
I started my political career with APC, and I have no reason to defect to any political party. Also, when I have nothing to show to my people.
My experiences in these past 5 years, it's enough for me to know what is good and what is bad.
Pastor Ize-Iyamo assured them that his manifesto, Simple Agenda, will be implemented to the letter in every part of the state if elected.
Over half of the states have been denied the representation in the House of Assembly. I want to assure you that the deprivation and neglect that this administration gave to your constituencies and local government will not repeat itself.
Meanwhile, the Governor Godwin Obaseki campaign team was at Igara and Enwa in Akoko Edo local government area. The candidate promised to build the Gara Technical College and draw electricity line to Ukwila from Igara.
Assets you have
Ojirami Dam has been down. Obemudia built this dam many, many years ago. I have been worried because I want that dam to work again. I must give una water because the water they here. When I need that water, they could take to farm also.
At the palace of the Otaro of Igara, His Royal Highness Oba Emmanuel Adeche Saike II, the governor solicited royal blessings. Also, some members of the APC in Ewohimi, Eastern Central Local Government Area, have joined the PDP.
4 plus 4! 4 plus 4!
The campaign continues. Away from political matters, experts are restating the importance of breast milk for both mother and baby and the need to breastfeed infants exclusively for the recommended 6 months. This is as the World Breastfeeding Week is being observed. Adogbeju Jigba reports.
For a new baby, breast milk is the best source of nutrition. Our medical experts say it not only protects babies from infection but helps the uterus to contract, cease bleeding after delivery more quickly.
The aim is to call on all stakeholders to put their hands together to support counseling, skilled counseling for mothers for breastfeeding. We know that breast milk and breastfeeding is very good, gives emotional, it gives nutritional and healthy support for the baby and for the mother.
For those nursing mothers, breast milk is cheap, safe and readily available.
When you're breastfeeding, you have no fear about anything, especially exclusive breastfeeding. When your baby is stooling, you know it's because it's the right time for the baby to stool.
Through breastfeeding, the child is immune against so many diseases, so many childly disease, and also there's a mother-to-child relationship.
World Breastfeeding Week is a global campaign to raise awareness and galvanize actions related to breastfeeding. In Benin, Adogbeji Ojigba, NTA News.
That's it from here. Elizabeth, you're on.
Thank you so much, Agatha. Military might may now be counted not in weapons but in digital and technical expertise. Why is this so? Defense correspondent Najato Tijani will tell us.
Security is everyone's business, but it takes a certain level of military expertise to draft ways of dealing with insecurity. And while Course 28 participants at the National Defense College, Nigeria's foremost military training institute, have the expertise of key players in the industry, including the Minister of Defense, the Chief of Defense Staff, service chiefs and the Inspector General of Police, all represented to tap from. They are being challenged by the guest speaker, the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, to look beyond warfare to an often overlooked area with vast potential.
Emerging technologies come up with so many solutions to the security challenges of each and every nation, like big data analytics, artificial intelligence, robotic technology.
It is important that security and defense establishments show more than a casual interest in the digital economy.
Military minds are known for strategic thinking and having one of the best skilled set of hands in any sector. And the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy is asking the country to adopt the military example to enhance digital economy. 112 Course 28 participants from the Armed Forces of Nigeria, Nigeria Police Force, ministries, departments and agencies and other countries are expected to graduate on the 6th of August. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
Away from defense matters, Nigeria's National Park Service is joining 63 other affiliate associates of International Ranger Federation in 46 countries to mark the 2020 World Ranger Day. Minister of Environment Muhammad Mahmoud Abubakar considers the commemoration as timely in view of life-threatening dangers associated with forest conservation in Nigeria. And then Gay Fineface reports.
In 35 years of existence, at least 40 rangers of the National Park Service have been killed and several others injured or maimed in the course of performing their duties. This and associated criminal acts like interferences by bandits, illegal wildlife poaching, hunting, logging, grazing, and mining necessitated the commemoration of Ranger Day by the international community. Considered as unsung heroes of nature, rangers are celebrated for their gallantry in protecting and conserving biological diversity in forests, games, and biosphere reserves.
As conservationists, environmentalists, to continue to do the needful in ensuring that our natural heritage is sustained and not compromised by our today's quest in order to ensure intergenerational equity.
Commemorating Ranger Day avails conservationists the opportunity to articulate standardization of the operations of rangers in Nigeria.
We need empowered and well-supported rangers operating in a more secure workplace that are more effective and are ambassadors for the profession.
To bring the National Park Service, the park rangers at par with other paramilitary agencies in the country and get them properly equipped to confront the challenges that they have.
World Ranger Day was first celebrated in 1992. In Abuja, Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
Now to COVID-19 update. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control has announced 288 new cases of COVID-19 in Nigeria. The latest figures released bring the total number of confirmed cases to 44,129 infections in Nigeria. A breakdown of the new cases from 15 states indicates that Lagos recorded the highest number for the day with 88 new cases, while Kwara State has 33, others are Osun with 27, FCT and Enugu recorded 25 new cases each, Abia 20, Kaduna 17, Plateau and Rivers States recorded 13 cases each, Delta 10, Gombe 8, Ogun 4, Oyo 3. With the latest development, total number of active cases stands at 70,000, while 20,663 cases have been successfully treated and discharged, and 896 patients died, unfortunately. Still talking COVID-19, extensive research development has remained an integral part of Nigerian universities in evolving critical solutions to flattening the curve of the ravaging coronavirus pandemic since its index case in the country. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that efforts of Nigerian scientists in this regard is mitigating the scourge as captured by the National Universities Commission in a trailblazing compendium of increasing COVID-19 response in the fight against the pandemic.
The commitment of Nigerian universities in joining global efforts to finding clinical solutions since the outbreak of COVID-19 is yielding significant results. The testimony, which has come under the scrutiny of critical agencies in the health sector with impressive feedbacks, is raising more concerns for support.
The compendium which we are launching, so to speak, today contains authentic ongoing efforts broadly in the areas of engineering, such as the development of mechanical and automatic ventilators at Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, the Air Force Institute of Technology, AFIT Kaduna, and Bayero University, Kano.
So far, about 32 universities nationwide innovated mechanical ventilators, pharmaceutical and non-pharmaceutical solutions, which are verifiable and authentic by NUC standards.
Various universities within the Nigerian university system have been making contributions through research and innovation endeavors to the nation's robust response to the devastating pandemic.
Testing and screening centers with effective collaboration with international partners is promoting more endeavors to mitigate impact of the dreadful virus.
The Commission says reinventing the wheel of a new dawn in areas of funding and patronage of research and output will build confidence in local medical inventions and other consumables as far as the fight against COVID-19 is concerned. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Away from COVID-19, President Muhammadu Buhari has sent warm greetings to the founder and chairman of BUA Group, Abdul Samad Rabiu, on his 60th birthday. The president congratulates the business magnate for his foresight in investing extensively in agriculture, infrastructure, manufacturing and real estate, which has translated into strengthening the pillars of the economy, bolstering the government's diversification efforts. President Buhari extolled the large-heartedness of the BUA Group chairman joined family and friends to celebrate the milestone heralded by years of hard work, dedication and commitment to building the Nigerian economy. While commending him for the construction of clinics and consistent financial interventions in the fight against pandemic like COVID-19, the president praised that the Almighty God will reward him with long life, good health and more wisdom. Time now to join Mina in our Enugu studio for more reports on Nationwide. Hello, Mina.
Hello, Elizabeth. Good evening and welcome to Enugu. Preparatory to commencement of academic activities, governments of the Southeast Zone have begun the implementation of precautionary measures in both private and public schools against COVID-19 as agreed by the governors. Among other resolutions at the last meeting of the Southeast Governors Forum, the leaders agreed to the deployment of health workers to the schools to train the teachers and students on the COVID-19 protocols. Susan Eze has details.
Following the decision by the governors of the Southeast Zone to reopen schools for the junior secondary JS3 and the senior secondary SS3 classes to enable the students prepare and take their examinations, the governors have taken steps to decontaminate the schools involved, provide hand sanitizers and running water in line with COVID-19 NCDC WHO protocols. According to a communique signed by the Director General of the Southeast Governors Forum, Professor Simon Otwanya, there will be random sampling of COVID-19 tests on teachers and students, while the health workers are to provide trainings on the safety protocols as well as enforce same. Stressing that COVID-19, though not a death sentence, is real, the governors enjoined teachers and students to comply strictly with all NCDC COVID-19 safety protocols by maintaining the required distance from each other, washing their hands regularly, and using alcohol-based hand sanitizers. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
Meanwhile, most schools in Enugu and the state government are putting protective measures in place in preparation of commencement of academic activities on Thursday the 6th of this month. Chika Ugu visited some schools in the metropolis and now reports.
After barely 5 months at home, students in JSS3 and SS3 classes are expected to return to school on August 4 to begin preparation for the final examinations as announced by the federal government. Although academic activities are yet to commence in schools in Enugu State, most of the schools are intensifying efforts to ensure adequate implementation of government guidelines for full commencement of classwork in preparation for their final examination, scheduled to begin in about 2 weeks' time.
They are going to maintain 4 or 5 feet distance. We are going to arrange the lockers and the seats ahead of the resumption, 20 students per class. We are also going to insist that the children come in their face masks.
Most teachers in virtually all schools visited were on ground and affirmed their readiness to resume academic activities. In some of the schools visited, they provided hand-washing buckets with running water, chairs adequately spaced out in line with social distancing policy. Most of the schools have also been fumigated by the state government and given a facelift with ongoing construction works. NTA News crew also ran into supervisors from the Post-Primary School Management Board, PPSMB, Enugu Zonal Office, inspecting the facilities in various schools to ensure total compliance with the NCDC protocols.
to adhere to NCDC protocol. So I'm very happy, and we commend the principals of schools we have visited so far.
Meanwhile, academic activities are expected to commence fully on Thursday. In Enugu, Chika Ugu, NTA News.
And that's a bit from here. It's back to you, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Mina. Next is a look at the weather picture. And that's Nationwide today on the network service of the NTA. Thank you so much for being a part of it. And don't forget, join the NTA in the fight against rape and rapists. Good evening.